For me, the hardest part of living in a different state than my daughter is the fact that I'm doing it voluntarily, which is gonna sound hard for a lot of people, but I am. I mean, I chose to move out here to Destin, Florida. It's to make good money. It's for her and it's for our future. But I still did it voluntarily. And whenever you do something voluntarily, you always think the grass is always greener on the other side. So multiple times throughout the day, throughout the week, I always think about just moving back up to, she's from right there in Southern Illinois, right by St. Louis. I think about moving back up to St. Louis almost every day and just cutting the season short just to be back with her. I fly back once a month, and part of the reason I chose Destin, Florida was because they have cheap flights through Mid-America Airport. So, I mean, I could get a round-trip flight back for like under $200, which I do once a month. And I just did it 2 weeks ago, but it feels like I haven't seen her in forever, you know. I mean, and then I checked the dates to see whenever I was just back there, and I was just back there with her. We took a nice vacation. I was just back there with her 2 weeks ago. It feels like I haven't seen her in like 2 months. And yeah, I FaceTime her all the time. But for me, the hardest part about living in a different state than my daughter is doing it voluntarily. I do know if I was back home, I wouldn't be doing as good as I am. I might even be getting into trouble where I couldn't see her because I got in trouble, you know. Who knows, I could have got a DUI and been in jail and couldn't see her through that, you know. So I'm gone for a couple months, but it's the right thing to do, I believe. But the hardest part is doing it voluntarily, because you always question your choices, question your logic, question your thinking, and that's with anything, because the grass is always greener. So if you're in a different state than your daughter or your son or your kid, but you're doing it for the right reasons, if it's because you're traveling for work, if it's because you're bettering yourself, then you're probably doing the right thing. You have to think of the long picture and not the short term. And it sucks and it's hard, and you're always going to think the grass is always greener, and you're going to miss your kids. And you're going to question whether or not you're doing the right thing. But once you make a choice, you kind of got to stick with it. So it's about to be August 1st, and I'm trying to think if I should stay until the end of October, which is whenever the restaurant in Destin closes. And October is actually one of our busiest months because we have the Destin Fishing Rodeo, which is right outside of where I work at in AJ's in Destin, Florida. So I'm like, stay in September and October and keep making good money, or just leave at the end of August. Where I'm at right now, my landlord needs me out by the end of August just because he's getting married and just needs more room for his wife and stuff. So I already found a spot that I can stay for just September, October. Or should I just take it as a sign like, hey, I got to be out by the end of August. Let's just roll back home and go see and go be close with my daughter for September, October. Then November, December, go up to the Rocky Mountains or to Scottsdale. So it's tough. You always want to just go back and run back home because, you know, that's where you're familiar with. And, you know, you start thinking, am I doing the right thing? But look, if you made a decision, you got to stick with it. Make the best of it. If you keep going back and forth, you're not going to get anywhere. So look, if you're in a different state than your kid, do the best you can while you're doing it. Make sure you're doing it for a reason and make that time count. But yeah, for me, the hardest part about being in a different state is doing it voluntarily, because you always doubt, did I make the right decision? Am I making the right decision? But you know what? Stay strong, stay motivated, stay hungry. And you know, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're doing it for the right reasons, as long as they're good back home. But you know, they say follow your heart too. So if your heart's telling you to go back home, maybe you should, you know. I don't know. I'm always lost. I never know what to decide. But that's life. You never know what to decide in life. And no matter what you do decide, you're going to second guess it. So if you're a parent living in a different state, a different city than your kid, it sucks, I know, and I'm sorry. But use that as a motivation to make your time even more valuable since you're away from them. I don't know. All right, guys, over and out. Like I said, I'm just trying to talk about stuff in my own life and what I'm going through. So, yeah, for people who don't know, I just go to different spots, serve or bartender in their peak times all over the country. I know I say this all the time to the people who normally watch, so I'll cut it short. But subscribe to the channel if you feel like it. I'm actually about to go jet skiing out here and on like a dolphin seeing tour, which will be cool. All right, guys. Love, appreciate you. I mean, hey, I'm not a Viking or anything like that, but I always think Vikings used to be gone for like years at a time. People back in the old days used to be gone for years at a time to bring back goods for their village or for their kids, you know. So I'm like, what, I can't go 2 weeks without seeing my daughter? You know, I mean, to fly back, you know, once a month. So I'm like, if you're in a different state or something, just think back in the old days, that used to be the norm. There's still people nowadays in this country, in America, who are here, then they send their money back to their kids who are in a different country. You know, I mean, it happens all the time. It's just so easy to look at stuff from our own perspective rather than like the whole thing. I mean, people right now in this day and age move here to America to make money for their and send it back to their kids who they don't maybe see once a year. So look, don't pity yourself. Just, hey, work, make the best of it, and just keep your mind positive. You know, like I said, Vikings used to do it. People nowadays still do it. You know, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and not wasting your time, go out there, loot. No, I'm just playing. Go out there and make your money.